actually like the door.
It's kind of windy, but it's not really good for light, so. Yeah, well, it works. The microphone is working. Thank you, Ernst. Welcome, everybody, to the Innovation Café. And today is actually quite a special Innovation Café, because we have also had like the opening of 3 amazing exhibitions. Who have seen the exhibitions already in front? Ooh. Some of them aren't. That's nice, because then it's also like an inspiration to check it afterwards. Because today we will have like actually a lot of speakers. Well, for us a lot, because normally we have 2. And today we have like 3 winners of the Design Kazerne Awards. They're all students from the Design Academy. And we have Back to the Flax, who will give us an update of where they're working on. But I also have a question for the audience. Who is it's first time here at the Innovation Café? Okay. Welcome. Welcome to the Innovation Café. We will have this like several Thursdays in a month. Well, we're not sure, once a month? Okay, we're looking like... yeah, but it's on Thursday for sure. Yeah, but it's on Thursday. Watch our socials and we will announce it. The Innovation Café, we actually started it because we have some major problems going on in our area, well, worldwide, to be honest. And we believe that we can, if we connect all the superpowers that we have in this area, brainports, like design, tech, well, there are actually much more than that, but now I just come up with design and tech. What if we combine all these powers, we can maybe come up with some new solutions. Dus this Innovation Café is as inspiration to find these solutions. My name is Charlotte Groen. I'm a designer based in Eindhoven. I also graduated a while ago from the Design Academy. And I'm very interested in social topics and also live and work in this area. So it's for me, every Thursday, it feels like a discovery series that I'm watching, because people are like explaining their stories and what they're doing, and we can also ask questions afterwards and also get answers. So that's like really inspiring. So first we will start with Kiki. Welcome, Kiki. Hello. Give her a big applause. And you did the project.
Does this work?
Yeah.
Does it work? Yeah. Okay.
Is it okay for you?
Yeah, it's fine.
It's a singer's mic, so you have to watch it.
I have to do this. All right.
Yeah. And you did the work Tonne voor Tonne.
Tonne for tonne.
Oh, yeah. Tonne voor tonne, sorry.
German, but tonne for tonne in
Tonne for
English.
tonne. I'll try to do it in French, but that didn't work. Okay. Take the stage. Enjoy.
All right. So, for my graduation, I designed a Yellow Pages style telephone book that looks like this, that is specifically targeted at approximately 140,000 small forest owners in Austria. So Austria has a bit of a peculiar situation when it comes to forest management. Roughly 50% of the entire country is managed by these 140,000 small forest owners. These are people that manage roughly 2 hectares of land, so that's, as you may know, not a lot. And all of these people have different management styles for this land, which was fine and perfectly normal up until just recently, when climate change really started to kick in and also reached the Austrian forest. And within a decade, multiple people have lost their entire land, and with that also a lot of their financial stability within just minutes and sometimes days, due to bug infestations, rough forest fires, or just thunderstorms, sometimes as early as April. So in this problem, the Austrian government has realized that obviously the forest is very important also to reduce their carbon emissions of the country. A lot of countries in Europe do this. They calculate a certain amount of carbon that the forest naturally sequestrates into their carbon offsetting at the end of the year. To help forests thrive also in the future, they have given out around 450 million euros in funding, which is supposed to help especially also these small forest owners replant their forests and try to make them future fit. But due to a lot of reasons, and mainly bureaucratic reasons, these funding systems never reach the people that need them. So my design answer to this was, after talking to many forest owners that struggle within the system, to design a book that is very easily navigatable, that is designed like a classic Yellow Pages telephone book, but only with forest-related funding and counseling and education systems within them. So there's multiple hundred contact details that you can call specifically to each small region in Austria to help out these small forest owners to navigate through climate crisis and make the future of the forest hopefully more accessible to everyone. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much. It's such an amazing project.
Thank you.
I'm really curious, just one question before we go to the second one. How did you came up with this project? Do you have anything with forest, or did you grow up in a forest, or?
Yeah, I did sort of grow up in a forest. My grandmother is a forest owner herself. She's never really engaged in managing it herself. She's always had someone else manage it for her. But also our plot of land wasn't spared by bugs, infestations, and things like this. So kind of in this problem that I was facing in my family, but also a lot of family friends that own forests, I really saw that there is universal issues, especially for people who don't manage the land for profit, but for passion and out of just generations, out of heritage almost.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really nice. And you also told me that there are many owners of the forests. So many owners own the forest together.
Yeah.
And what would you advise them?
Yeah, there's a lot of things to do.
Just one small thing to start.
A small thing is to stop monoculture. I think this is a common thing also in the Netherlands and a problem especially in the north of Europe. Monocultures really destroy forest ecosystems. So this would be the first step to start planting a more diverse range of trees and start to be more biodiverse.
Okay. Wow, thank you. We will go to the second speaker, and then afterwards we will have some questions, because otherwise we will just completely run out of time. Thank you so much, Kiki.
Thank you.
And now I have to guess who is next. Realtine or Céleste? Oh, Céleste, come on over. A big applause for Céleste.
Can you hear me well? Yes. Hello, my name is Céleste Muir. I am a French designer with a penchant for ceramics and jewelry. For a bit of context, before Design Academy, I have studied...
This one is harder.
Is it better? Oh, okay. So I studied the craft of jewelry making in France before getting in the Netherlands at the Design Academy. And in Design Academy, I very much found myself in the ceramic field. And I had the feeling that there would be a hybrid in between craft that could be born from my two interests. And that is how I came up with what you're seeing behind. I consider myself a gem miner. I travel around the Netherlands in ceramics ateliers, studios, art residencies, and what I do is that I gather their glaze waste that I transform into new sort of gems. So the presentation you can see in the other room is made only from Dutch 100% Dutch gems. I travel around the country and I gather this material. What is super interesting with the glaze is because of its properties. You have very similar outcomes when it comes to gems that are a bit more opaque, and also the component of glaze for ceramicists is made of minerals. So there is also the circle that actually my gems come from the ground. And it's super interesting that glaze waste is a chemical waste, and it's toxic when non-fired. And ceramicists want to get rid of it, and it gets burned down. But the glaze is actually the last layer you put on your ceramic, and the toxicity is actually contained as soon as fired, and that's how you can eat in your ceramic bowls and ceramic tableware. And so these gems are just brand new way of finding gems, because the extraction is obviously way less polluting, because on my micro scale it doesn't take much digging to actually create this new species. I have here some gems that you can see, and each of them is a one-time finding. I can't really reproduce them. I found some that can be similar. For instance, I've been at the EHV in Oosterwijk, and here it's many residents. So all of the gems that I found there are always very different, and it's really a lot of material that I can gather there. And because of my small scale, I can gather waste from people, and with it I can produce quite a lot of them. But it's always new findings, obviously. And it's super interesting, because then I can use this material that actually ceramicists or people related to ceramic want to get rid of. And yeah, I think a lot of ceramicists I met during this process are super interested in this new material, and so am I. So yeah, that's what I do.
Wow. Thank you. Wait, Celeste. Is what we see here in the back, is this material?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So basically, this is the raw material, and this is not fired. That's how I gather the material, and what you see here has been fired. I interfere in the shape of the material before firing, then I discover the color only after it's been fired. So sometimes I facet a gem that looks grayish, and it turns into a beautiful bright blue. So it's always a surprise.
It's always a surprise.
Yeah.
And I also have a bit of a ceramic background. What degree do you fire them? Do you use different degrees, or?
Depends. I always ask in my mine, so the place where I gather the material, I always ask, do you have always the same type of firing? Do you always use the same type of glazes? For instance, I collaborated with Atelier Fig in Arnhem, and they use mostly porcelain and gobi, so it's always quite high. Depends, but I always start low when I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And our next speaker, Realtine, with her amazing project as well.
Hi, can you all hear me okay? Great. My name is Realtine. I'm co-founder of a publishing house called Bog Bodies Press, in which we aim to create platforms for unbounded kind of connection through storytelling, both on and off the page. So the project that you can see here is called Nematode Magazine. There's some here, I can pass them around. But essentially, we started Nematode to be a wide and welcoming platform within the world of publishing for the brilliant stories that traditional literature often overlooks. So we live in a world today where so many of the stories that we have access to are dictated by algorithms or media and publishing conglomerates. And that's only getting worse. And so there's so much more to storytelling than this kind of transactional landscape that we see all around us. Storytelling is our oldest tool for connection, for meaningful understanding of one another, and also as a way of seeing the world around us in much more vibrant, nuanced, complicated ways. And so, me and my co-founder Lilu, in our final year at the Design Academy, decided to start this magazine and platform. So what we do with Nematode is we put out an open call 4 times a year. There's no theme, there's no restrictions on grammar or form or history of the writer or storyteller, and anyone can submit. And so now by issue 7, we've published over 265 people from 23 countries and 4 continents all around the world. And so this idea of unbounded storytelling, when I get to this point of telling people about it, often brings the question, it's nice to be nice, but what kind of stories are they? You know, a lot of people see this idea of inclusivity as coming at the compromise of quality. But that's not true. It's actually just good business sense to be more inclusive and to look further than other people. So traditional literature, before they even get to reading stories, filter them through grammar, through highbrow English, through the prestige of an author, or whether they studied literature before, whether they have a platform, or whether they're known for their storytelling. And so by just widening that range of stories that we have access to, by ignoring those filters, we have access to phenomenal storytellers from way earlier than any other publishing house. And so the stories that we get through Nematope genuinely have been, for me, some of the most moving things I've ever read. And they come in every form. Some of them are kind of academic essays on hardcore music or on design. Some of them are poems. Some of them are lists that were screenshotted from someone's notes app. And through Nematope, we're able to give people this platform to be published, mostly for the first time, and to be stocked in, now we're in over 50 bookstores all around the world. And so seeing your work in print is also, it's just such an important thing for people to understand that, yes, your story can be heard, and that it should be, because the more kind of stories we have access to, the more interesting we become, and the more fascinating the world becomes, and the lens that we can see it through. So that's Nematope.
Wow, thank you. Thank you. Well, I have a question. What is your background?
The Design Academy.
Yeah, but
we were also in, so Lily and I had both interned for publishing houses. Mm-hmm. I worked for 2 in Berlin and Lily worked for 1 in Helsinki. And we had gone for independent publishing houses because firstly, they allowed us to see the structure of the publishing world more. In a smaller one, you basically, it's quite simple, but you have access to a lot more of the structures that these places need in order to survive. And we were also hoping that they would be a little bit more inclusive than Penguin or any of these big publishing houses, that they would reach more people. But actually what we found was that independent publishing is a niche of its own. It publishes more wide-ranging topics and it has a faster turnover, but it operates still within this bubble. So it sells independent publishing to people who already know about it or go to these kind of bookstores. Wow. So our goal with Nematope was to create a platform that operates kind of between traditional and independent publishing, that has a little bit more reach and gets to, so for example, someone we've published in Nematope is like, he's in his 70s, he was an accountant, and he's one of my favorite poets now. Okay. He's incredible.
And he's in this magazine?
He's in 7 and 5 and 4, I think. I can
remember it.
But he found it through his son. And so our goal with Nematope is to do more of that, to reach people who have stories to tell but haven't known where to put them yet. Basically.
And are you putting in publishing like every story that comes in?
No. So for example, we have an open call closing on Monday that we've got more than 200 people who've submitted to so far, which is quite crazy for us. It's, really new. And so we can't put everything in, but basically, because we have such a huge pool of stories to pull from, we're never short of good ones. But what we basically do with Nematope is first we try to contain as many different themes as possible within one issue. So we often get a lot of stories on heartbreak, and so we have to cut out a lot of those so that it's not an entire magazine on heartbreak. But we also prioritize people who haven't been published before. Okay. And we pair up pieces on spreads, so stories that speak to each other somehow often pull ones that we hadn't seen first into the book as well. So it's kind of a whole editorial process that we've worked on.
And it also looks amazing. So if you have time, please check it and read it.
Yes,
for sure.
do, definitely.
For sure. Thank you. Thank you. And then last but not least, back to the Flax. I will give you also a mic. Please take the stage. That one is a bit harder and this one is a bit...
Oh, we can.
I think it's good like you take that one. Oh. No? Yeah, it's fine. Take the stage.
We are back to the Flax. My name is Prima.
I'm Mika.
We are a group of 9 students from Design Academy. We're all in 2nd year. And this year we planted for the 2nd year 1,000 square meters of flax. Here you see the flax. It's a material where you can make linen from, for clothing, or linseeds for oil. And we as a group, we want to do a lot of different, try to do a lot of different things with the flax, a new look on the material.
Since now, the last Dutch Design Week, we presented a lot of samples of the material that we investigate with our own material. And after Dutch Design Week, we decided to stop this part and we decided to invest more in the community part. So we organized together a community planting of the material and inviting all of our surrounding to plant with us, that other people can be connected with the idea that the material not come like from whatever or from the supermarket, and they really need to work for processing and creating and to reach to the linen that we all know. So our exhibition that we present here today, it's called Interwoven and Focus, about the community aspect of it. The woven piece, we did it together collectively, everyone, and all of the videos like reacting to our approach to the collective part of craft that we need to broadcast and bring and teach each other. And in the future, we are continue with our flax. This is our flax, like right now from the field. In the morning, it's blooming with the purple, nice flowers. And on July, we're going to harvest the material, and we invite everyone to join us to harvest. You can follow us on social media and to join us to the field, to feel the land. Of course, we're going to do some nice events and drinks so with the harvesting, but it's really different look on the material when you feel it from the land. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, who of you, because this is the second time you're here actually, already, who of you have already met Back to the Flax? Only a few. Okay. Then I have a question, because if all the audience did know you, then it would be an interesting question. Mm-hmm. How did you start it? How did you came up with this project? Because flax, it sounds really flax, but yeah, how do you started this?
It started actually with my mother. She has the linen project, so I already knew about flax for 5 years. At one point there was a piece of land, and she asked me if I wanted to start my own piece of land with flax. And then I gathered friends from my school and that I knew, and then we started Back to the Flax. Because the linen project is really about linen, and we want to have a new look, like new materials. What can we do with it as young designers?
Wow.
And yeah, that's how it started. And this is already the second year.
Second year you're working on it.
Yeah.
Wow. And do you want to still continue next year, or this will be?
Yeah.
I think we saw a lot of young people around us enthusiastic from the material, so it brings us a lot of energy to continue with this. So.
Nice. And is this a project that you can also work on during the Design Academy, or is it outside of the school that you work on it?
It's outside of the school. It's an initiative project of us.
You should talk to the teachers if you get some time.
Sometimes we're connected with the project.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay. Thank you. These were all presentations. Please, all speakers, come up here. I'm just curious, because maybe we can just stand a little bit here around your projects. Celeste, are all your stones back? Because I think someone will put it in their pockets. 2 missing. It's not me.
So please give them that.
Oh, they are there. Okay, perfect. Okay. Are there questions from the audience? Yeah. Come to you, Hans. You have to share the mic a little bit. Watch out. Yes.
Hello, my name is Steven. I have a question for Kiki. Hello. So why did you come up with a book? I love the idea to have a book, but why not a website or an app or whatever?
Very valid question. I get this a lot. So the reason why the book is in the form of print right now is actually very simple. Most forest owners are in the age group, and this is 80% of the forest owners are age group 58 to 80 and above. So there was really, in my mind, I was like, if I make a website and start distributing QR codes, maybe a lot of the people that I'm trying to reach won't have interest in this at all or won't know how to use it. So for now, it is in the form of a book, also because I really like this sort of approach to creating something that everyone sort of has a connection with or knows, or most people know. But I am working on a website solution for the future. This is definitely something that I am thinking about, but there's a lot of logistic parts of it that need to be figured out, and financing and all that stuff. So, yeah.
Thank you. The yellow pages remind me of the old days that we have the yellow pages and we were looking for a phone number. I didn't know it was in Austria the same as in the Netherlands.
Exactly the same,
Yeah, fine. Hans.
Yeah. I have also a question for you. Why only Austria? Because of the same, let's say, structure what I see is in other countries as well, with a lot of owners.
For sure, yeah. This is also another question that I also get asked a lot. So it's interesting that these come up a lot. But yeah, so Austria for now, because I'm from there, my research was set there. Most people that I know that own forests and have issues in forests are also there. Also, in comparison to the Netherlands, Austria is way more bureaucratic. Getting things like funding, and I have my own experience with this now, is almost impossible. There's cuts everywhere. There is paperwork that never makes it to anyone. I feel like the Netherlands are, just maybe from what I've heard and know, a bit more accessible. Oh, okay. Other countries, I mean, yeah, the issues are everywhere. I'm sure there's other countries as well that could benefit from this. I just, for now, I think focused on Austria just because it's a bit closer to home.
Hans, do you have ideas for her? Which countries?
Yes, if you do have, please.
Because normally you always have an answer as well.
No, I have. Let's say I know that a lot of foreign owners in Bulgaria, and they sit with the same problem.
Yeah.
And sometimes I also wonder: is the money available only for Austrians, or is it European money?
This is Austrian money specifically. The funding was from the Austrian state specifically for Austria because they're trying to improve the forest, basically just for carbon offsetting reasons. But I'm sure there is other systems like this in places like Bulgaria as well. So it would be really interesting to look into this actually, yeah. Oh, sorry, Romania. Oh.
Thank you.
Yeah,
We have another
thanks.
question. Betsy?
I have a comment and a question. So for Tonne, for Kiki, I know a really interesting group in Germany, a lady named Anne who was here for the women's dinner in February. She's the COO of a company called Climate Forest, and they're a forest management group out of Germany, and they basically manage forest for carbon credits, and it gives people like another source of revenue to keep their forest going, right? So it's a really good thing. They're really interesting group, and I can connect you with them because I think they'd
Please
like
do,
to get Germany on the same kind of pathway, right?
Yeah.
And then for the Flax group, for Back to the Flax, I kind of tried to like just really briefly look at what's online, but I wondered if maybe somewhere you have like kind of like a timeline of like what you're doing when, because like right now it's summertime, so you're harvesting, and how do people get involved, I guess, and then what at different times of year you're doing different activities. It'd just be interesting to see that as the year evolves, like what you're up to, yeah. How do we see what you're doing, I guess? Because I saw on Instagram a lot of different pictures, but yeah, do you have a website or?
Yeah, now it's only on Instagram, like we do announcements, but we don't have a timeline. But I think it's an interesting idea also to involve people. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, because we usually work by the plant, so we planting, there is like blooming, so we are actually more observation. We invite everyone to watch, but we don't do it as well much in this stage, and then we harvest. So this is our intervention when we involve people, and to process the material, we process by ourselves to create our things. But now it's our second year of activity, so maybe it's an opportunity even in the processing stage to involve more people.
Thanks. Yes, Zoe.
I wanted to ask, back to the Flax, who you, when you invite people to help you with the process, who do you ask? Where do you put this call out to?
We usually use, of course, we're students in Design Academy. You use the facilities on the Design Academy. We use the Kazerne as to announce people around us, and our social media. So this is like our way of communication. And actually we succeeded from social media to arrive to people from Amsterdam that came to Eindhoven especially to harvest, to plant the flax with us. So it was really interesting conversation that we had to meet more people that interested in the material.
So if anybody from Innovation Café wanted to participate, they should find you on social media and then go about it that way.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a flyer with a QR code.
You have a flyer with a QR code.
Yeah.
And I think Zoe wants to join. Maybe. Sure. Are there more questions? Yes.
For the publishing part, I have a father 88 years old, and he starts all of a sudden writing. So where can he find you?
He can find us on, well, in this case, I would imagine he's not on Instagram. So we can also we do a thing called direct outreach, which is where we send the open call to libraries, reading circles, writing circles around the world. So I can send you the thing and you can forward it to your father as well.
I will do that.
The more the merrier, yeah.
And I think your websites are also next to the projects. Well, does anybody has a question?
More than a question, I have a comment. I wanted
What's your name?
Gonzalo. I'm Gonzalo. Watching you present your projects and hearing your ideals, these ideas you have behind your projects, I see a common theme which has to do with sustainability, with social responsibility and things like that. Were those things you got at school, or those are things that you brought from your daily life?
I think I'm going to pass
Celeste?
the mic.
Oh yeah, maybe you can use some.
Yeah. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
I have the feeling that the school really also pushes us to have a structure that is very fluid, if not existing sometimes, to make us really find things by ourselves in a good way. And so I have the feeling that I know a lot of people graduated from the school, and also in our case, a lot of us come up at the end of the school with our own job that we made, with our own vision and everything, because there's so much room for everyone to discover their own personality and their own signature. So the school provides the stage for you to bloom with your own job that you shape yourself, I would say. I don't know if you have another.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree, but I also think that especially today when we have constant access 24/7 to news from all over the world, it's impossible not to feel a sense of social responsibility. And it also, I would even say it's at the point where it feels impossible for us to take space as designers or creatives in a way that is not cognitive of the problems that we're facing. And so I think that it is a mixture of the freedom of the Design Academy, but I think also of the climate we're in today. It's impossible for us not to feel like we owe it to other people to try and make things better in whatever field we're in.
Wow, well said. Yeah. Do you have? Ooh. I thought it was me, but no. Do you have a comment on that?
Yeah, just to, well, you've just confirmed my idea that young generations are much more worried about the environment than my generation, which is the one that have put you in the situation you are. So thank you for taking that really heavy future from our hands. Thank you.
Wow. Oh, question. Yes. In the back. Yes.
Hi, my name is Ujjwal. I have a question for back to the Flax Collective. Yeah, like as part of curiosity, I want to know, like, may I know which company, like you do build the raw materials, but are there any target stakeholders where you deliver your raw materials? And because maybe I want to participate in this initiative, but I also want to be a buyer of these kind of clothes. more biodegradable clothes. So, like any targeted company, or maybe.
So, do you mean like? What do you mean by stakeholders? Do you mean like?
I mean, like it's a B2B business. So, like, who would be the another side of the B, and is it some giant company or?
Are you there already, or is it still
I think
more
so.
of an experiment?
Yeah, with Flax, like mostly, like if farmers have Flax, it's about like a lot of Flax, like a lot of square meters. We have 1,000 square meters. It's really difficult for the industry to process our Flax. So that's also why we do it by hand. But we want to ask Van de Beeld if they can help us to process our Flax.
So basically, you also produce like the cloth material or the material by itself, or
Till now we process all the material by hand, so we did it by ourselves. This year it's going to be way more flax than last year because we had a better weather this year. So that's why we are thinking to split our production and still keep doing it by hand and like the way that we did before, but combining maybe as well some help from a company that help us to process some of the material.
Okay, yeah, nice.
And
sorry, yeah, continue, yeah.
We also want to have a look like if we can make tools for a smaller scale, how to process, for example, 1,000 square meters of flax, modular tools, or a new way of looking at tools, how to make them.
That's nice, yeah. I really want to be a buyer of that, yeah. Yeah.
You should find each other during drinks, and I think they can arrange it. Because I also have a question. Maybe it's a bit of a, I don't know, not a very inspiring question, maybe, but how do you finance all this? Because that's what's the question that comes up. That's
we are. Like we all students, so we all like all the hours that we work as a group, we have a different talents in the group and different people from different backgrounds. So everything comes from us. It's completely volunteering, and we have people that help us with volunteering, and we get, of course, the support from Kazerne, the location to present our work, and as well another support around this. So we're very grateful for this opportunity. So.
Yeah, that was I was thinking. Maybe we can, ask the audience to fund you. Yeah.
It's always welcome.
Yeah. You can find them during drinks. Please help them. We need a Giro number next time, Annema. GoFundMe. There are ideas coming up. So, yeah. Are there any more questions? Yeah. Sorry.
I would like to ask the question to the French lady, but I forgot your name. Céleste, yes. For someone to, pay attention to so much details in stone must be your passion, I think. Right? Like, when did it start? How did it happen that you realized that you want to do this in life?
So it's super funny. Since I was a child, I grew up in Normandy, so in the north of France, and we have a lot of rocks on the beach. And when I was young, I always collected like super small pebbles with my mom, and I would come to her, and my pockets would be filled with like gling, gling, gling of little rocks. And I found myself studying in jewelry when I got older, and I always had an eye for very small little treasures. I used to love to hunt as a child. And I think as soon as I got an interest for ceramics, I was like, maybe in the ateliers of ceramics I can find little treasures. So because I have an eye for a very small scale, I started looking around, and that's how I got the idea of maybe in the trash might be treasures. So I discovered all the different ways that they are in the ceramic field, but a lot of them can be recycled. So the plaster can be recycled, the clay as well, and the glaze can also be recycled, but it has never been done on this very small scale for this purpose. Yeah.
All right, I understand. And yeah, a bit also one question to the lady who wrote the book about the no, to you. Yeah, black and white. Yeah, I quite like the idea that giving opportunity to anybody who wants to write story about could be anything, and I checked the book that there are also some underlinings in different languages as well. Yeah, you mentioned that you do have some filters. It's good to collect all these stories from around the world, but what is the purpose going to be in the future? This is a company, right?
Yeah. I mean, so Nematope is our magazine. It's like our flagship publication. This is the place where it's basically the core of the publishing house because it's where so much of the community is built, and it's a lot of what we stand for is creating these platforms within publishing that are more welcoming and accessible. But in the case of the company, we are a fully fledged publishing house, so we also publish books, mostly with authors that we found through the magazine, so new authors. We host storytelling workshops. We have one on Saturday for anyone who's at the European Literature Night in Amsterdam. We're working with the British Council and UNIC there. And we also have events around storytelling. So our goal, in a broader sense, is, I suppose, to really refocus storytelling in the true purpose of it, which is connection, and which is giving people a chance to express and connect with the people around them through this really ancient practice. So our events, one kind of event that we host is also a storytelling supper club, where there's a theme, 10 or 12 people come to dinner and they all tell their story to strangers on the theme. So it's basically, our goal is to refocus on storytelling in a way that connects people, whatever that is, on or off the page. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I was thinking that maybe the purpose... Huh? No. This is a statement. Yeah, maybe at some point, how do you spell the name? Nematope? Nematope, yeah. Very hard one, by the way. Yeah. That maybe somebody in Czech Republic or people in Germany, and it is going to be so famous that people are going to be looking forward to reading the next edition, so you could sell.
We do. We're in over 50 bookstores around the world.
Okay, that's already happening. Okay.
Yeah, and we also have a subscription model as well. So we also do book fairs. There's a lot of ways that we engage with people, but I think what I was saying before about the idea of inclusivity not coming at the cost of quality is a really core principle of ours. Like, you never lose anything by broadening the field. You only serve, like, the only option there is to find more people and more interesting stories. And so that's really what Nematope is for. You can't find stories like that anywhere else. And I think that's something that is gathering steam as Nematope grows, is that people are realizing that these stories are worth reading, and that's the whole goal of the magazine, is to show people that.
All right, thank you.
Or did you have another question? Okay. No, just joking. I have a question. Like, because I'm curious about the graphic design. Why did you choose black and white? Why is it designed like this?
Economic reasons.
Economic?
So we started off, actually, for the very first issue of Nematope, we got a €300 grant from the community grant at the Design Academy. And so we had €300, and we had to make a choice whether to make very few with a very expensive printing, or whether to make as many as we could with that budget. And we chose as many as we could, because our goal was always to get people's stories in as many places as possible. And so it's recycled paper, black and white, as cheap printing as possible.
But still you have like the graphic design.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with the production.
It does, and it doesn't. I mean, black and white was a restriction production-wise, so we were working within that. And then our goal with the graphic design is just to catch people's eye, and to, even if they think that like a collection of random stories from all around the world isn't for them, to grab them for long enough that they realize it is. That's basically our goal.
Wow. It looks really nice.
Thank
I love
you.
it. I love it. Are there any more questions from the audience? Well, Hans? Yeah? No, what he said?
Not so much a question.
Well, maybe I should give you a small introduction. Sorry.
Oh.
Because for the people, I was thinking, sorry, it was a bit behind in my mind. Hans is always here, every Innovation Café, and every time he's always drawing what he sees. And he makes amazing comments, especially during the drinks, because he is drawing it. He has a different summary of what was told here. So, yeah. Are you ready, Hans?
Yeah, I'll try. Thank you. Sorry?
The faces are here.
Yeah, well, they're there. They're over there, yes. Thank you. you made me think of Emily Dickinson. She once wrote a poem called Hope.
With the thing with feathers.
Yeah, hope, the thing with feathers, perched in the soul, and sings the tune without the words, and never stops at all. And that's what I get from your presentations, hope for the future. It made me think of Roman Krasniq's The Good Ancestor, in which he tells us to take care of the planet and the people for our as ancestors, and I really see you doing that. The other gentleman, he talked about sustainability and taking responsibility, and I feel that that's very nice to hear that from you, especially the underlying theme, which is storytelling. I mean, Nicholas Taleb wrote a book called Anti-Fragile. And anti-fragile means this: you have an e-reader, and that's very fragile. You have a book which is robust. But the opposite, he says, of fragile is anti-fragile, which means the story, the oral tradition, is the best continuation into history because it adapts to the times at which it's happening. And I find that in the book Mnemotope, that the idea is very much today, but it reminds me of the 60s when we saw those magazines, which were also in black and white with cartoons, and I'm thinking of Crump in America. And I think this is good thinking, especially a book about forestry on paper, which is the medium is the message, I think. And perhaps the next book will be made from Flax. I mean, we never know. I thank you very much for hope giving.
Thank you, Hans. It always feels a bit like Santa Claus when you do this. You know, we have like surprise, this Dutch tradition that you have surprise and you make a poem about someone. That's how I feel when you always talk about all the projects. So thank you so much. And give a big applause for our speakers and their great work. And please watch go show the exhibition. It's over there. Watch it, and we will have a drink afterwards. The next Innovation Café will be a surprise. Oh, the end of August. We will have a summer stop. But don't. Oh, Annemoon, go for it.
And the next Innovation Café is about neuroscience, isn't it, Betsy? Yeah. Yeah, neurodiversity. Yeah, so Eva will be here. Her work is also in the exhibition, and the neurodiversity officer of ASML is her co-speaker. So I'm really curious about it already. But thank you so much for your beautiful work.
Thank you. And we have a dinner afterwards with the speakers who are joining. And we will have like informal conversations. So please, if you want to stay for dinner, please go to Zoe and she will arrange a table for you. But for now, cheers and enjoy the exhibition. Thank you so much for being here.